early how to stay above what you could not understand. Floating became easier than asking why the water felt heavy. You adjusted quietly, the way people do when survival becomes routine. No one noticed how carefully you balanced yourself each day. You appeared calm, because calm was the safest position to hold. But balance is not the same thing as rest. Balance requires constant awareness of the depth below, and the depth was always there, even when you ignored it. You simply learned not to look down. Looking down would change the quiet arrangement you depended on. So you focused on breathing slowly and staying steady. You called that stability because the words sounded reassuring. Others called it strength when they saw how calm you seemed. But strength is often endurance wearing a calm expression. Endurance asks you to remain where you are. It does not ask you to understand the water beneath you. It asks only that you remain afloat long enough to continue. Floating is a quiet form of survival. But survival has its own hidden cost that appears slowly. You pay for it with silence at first. Silence grows easily around things that are never spoken. At the beginning, it even feels peaceful. Stillness always feels peaceful when nothing has yet moved. But stillness also hides movement beneath it. You began to feel that hidden movement inside yourself. Something shifted beneath the calm you practiced every day. The shift did not announce itself loudly. It appeared as a faint heaviness in quiet moments. You noticed it while doing ordinary things that once felt easy. A pause before answering a simple question. A longer silence between thoughts. A question that stayed in your mind longer than expected. These moments were small enough to ignore. Ignoring them felt practical at the time. You had responsibilities above the surface that required attention. Looking deeper would slow you down. So you stayed where the light was familiar. But familiarity can quietly become confinement. The water around you remained calm enough to trust. Yet something inside began to feel crowded. Thoughts became heavier than before. They moved more slowly through your mind. Some of them carried questions you had postponed for years. Questions about why floating felt so exhausting lately. Exhaustion rarely arrives suddenly. It gathers quietly through repeated effort. Each moment of endurance adds another small layer. Layers eventually become weight. Weight eventually demands attention. And attention begins to pull the mind downward. Downward is where the unanswered questions wait. You sensed their presence long before you faced them directly. They pressed upward from somewhere beneath awareness. At first, you resisted the pressure instinctively. Resistance felt like control. Control had always protected you before. But protection can slowly become confinement. You began to realize something quietly. Floating had never been healing. It had only been postponement disguised as calm. Postponement compresses everything beneath it. The longer it waits, the stronger the pressure becomes. You felt that pressure now in subtle ways. Not as panic, but as quiet gravity. Gravity pulls downward without asking permission. Part of you wanted to follow that pull. Another part resisted with equal determination. Between those forces, you remained suspended. Suspension is quieter than open conflict, but it drains strength over time. You began to notice cracks in your calm. A moment of sadness that appeared without warning. A sudden memory that surfaced unexpectedly. A question that refused to disappear once it appeared. These moments pointed towards something deeper. They suggested that floating was no longer enough. Something deeper required attention. Healing does not happen on the surface. Healing requires descending into what was avoided. Descent feels like risk at first, because you cannot see clearly where it leads. But avoiding descent carries its own danger. Staying afloat forever becomes another kind of drowning. You understood that slowly over time. Floating had protected you once. Now it kept you distant from yourself. Distance grows quietly when it is ignored. Eventually, you feel unfamiliar to your own thoughts. That realization arrives softly. But once it appears, it does not leave. You begin to observe yourself differently. Your calm now feels rehearsed rather than natural. Conversations continue as they always have. Yet something about them feels slightly distant. Words come out in the correct order, but they no longer feel completely yours. You hear your own voice and feel removed from it. The distance grows slowly but steadily. It changes the way you experience quiet moments. Silence begins to feel heavier than before. Not threatening, but filled with unspoken weight. Weight that belongs somewhere beneath your awareness. Weight that has been waiting patiently for years. Patience does not weaken pressure. It simply allows it to gather strength. The longer you float, the deeper the compression grows. Eventually, even calm water begins to feel unstable. You sense that instability now, not outside, but inside your own awareness. Something wants to move downward. Something wants to understand the depth. You hesitate at the thought of that descent, because understanding may change how you see everything, including how you see yourself. That possibility makes you pause. Yet the pressure beneath your calm continues to grow. You cannot ignore it forever. Eventually, attention returns to the place you avoided. You begin to wonder what healing would actually mean. Not comfort, but honesty. Not control, but recognition. Recognition requires facing what was buried. And buried things rarely disappear on their own. They wait quietly for acknowledgement. Waiting is something depth does well. It does not rush your readiness. It only remains there, patient and unmoving beneath your calm surface, knowing that sooner or later you will notice it. You already have. That awareness changes the silence around you. The surface no longer feels entirely safe. It feels temporary now. Temporary calm always carries tension beneath it. You understand that more clearly each day. Floating begins to feel like postponement again, and postponement grows heavier with time. Something inside you is tired of carrying it. Tired of remaining balanced above everything unresolved. Tired of pretending that balance is peace. Peace does not require constant effort. Peace does not feel like endurance. What you practiced was endurance. Calm endurance that kept everything hidden. Hidden even from yourself. Now the separation between you and that hidden depth feels smaller. Not comfortable, but real. Reality rarely appears with dramatic noise. It usually arrives quietly, like a shift in how silence feels. Like the awareness that floating was never the destination, only the pause before something deeper. You remain where you are for now, suspended between habit and understanding, between survival and healing. between surface and depth. And for the first time, you know the difference. You are still floating, but now you understand that floating was never the same as healing.